Hey, what's up? This is a message for Stephanie Ike and Toure and the crew at One Potter's House. Guys, I love your content, and I just saw that that segment you had on breathing. And my name is Tim Kelly. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm a breathwork coach. I've trained some professional athletes, and I wanted to drop on you some quick techniques that are actually techniques that you can teach your people on how to breathe, or what happens when somebody's saying, breathe, breathe. Well, you just need to breathe. Take a breath. So, and I saw your segment on breathing and how that gentleman, that doctor, was talking about his study and keeping this whole area lubricated. And I acknowledge that, kids with asthma is all about hydration levels and also histamine levels, and asthma also are over breathers. So that's where in this technique that I'm going to show you, it really is just simple. It's not even a technique. It's going back to the simple mechanics of breathing, where when somebody says, take a breath or breathe, one breath is your inhale, your pause, your exhale, and your pause. And, and when you pause the breath, you still the fluctuations of the mind. So at the end of the day, when you're trying to, shut down the 60,000 thoughts, that chattering mind, a lot of people will just take a deep breath in, pause the breath, and that helps you calm down. It helps to calm the body down, helps to, shut down the mind a little bit. But when you're out and performing and you have anxiety and, or kids with asthma where they're 23,000 breaths every day, the 60,000 thoughts, and we're all over breathers. So asthma kids are over breathers. They're breathing too much, and they're challenged with their histamine levels and their hydration levels. So, they're like, I can't breathe, because they're all day long with the stresses of life. And then they have so much air in there, they're over inhalers, basically. So like a lot of us, most of us over inhale all day long. So when we're under stressful situations, or we cannot breathe, or we have exerted ourselves too much in physical exercise, and we're coming off, between a hockey shift or a soccer shift, or coming off the field after our last play, and we're sucking wind, what you want to be doing, instead of, people are saying breathe, instead of inhaling, you want to force that exhale out. Like a boxer does. And in a lot of the yoga classes, that's basically what they're doing. You're doing a lot of these different expulsion breaths. And expulsion breaths are the ones that ground you in the moment. That's where, when you're playing sports, or if you're a public performer and you're experiencing pre-performance anxiety or stress or nerves, you want to be doing the different expulsion breaths, like a cleansing breath or sound. And you see that a lot with even laughing. It's that ha, 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 ha. Well, that's happening when you're laughing in your belly, but then you can also do that more, instead of joyous, more aggressive, ha, 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 like the martial artist. And that's all happening in your gut. That sound's really made in your respiratory diaphragm, in your gut. And then when you activate that area, you take yourself out of the head, out of the chattering mind, where the nervousness, the anxiety is actually manifesting. So the body takes you out of the mind. The body, getting into the body, is one of the quickest ways to release internal pressure, stress, anxiety, and the quickest way for that is through your respiratory system. So in this video, this technique for you guys, I'm talking about the mechanics of breathing, the inhale, the pause, the exhale, the pause, and we're going to do that with chanting, and we're going to chant Amen. So as an ex-New Ager, an ex-yoga teacher, I used to always chant Om, but Amen is the same. And Amen, you can do that, and you can really, by chanting Amen on that sound when you're making it, you prolong the duration of the exhale, you get rid of that internal pressure. You're also activating this part of your throat. So that talk about, the dryness or anything like that. When you chant and you actually just even say Amen, it hits you right here in your throat. So, and it clears out. So a lot of people, when you're chanting Om in the New Age, it's, help you clear out the old lies, maybe help you speak the truth. And that's going to be the same with when you're chanting Amen. So in this exercise, let me just take you through it. All you're going to do is take a big inhale in, and you're going to acknowledge the inhale first. Then you're going to pause, and then we have the exhale, and then the pause. And on the exhale, that's really where you're making the sound and you're chanting. So I'll demonstrate. Inhale. Amen. Pause. So again, what's happening there? What's happening is on the inhale, I'm taking in a mass amount of oxygen. And then on the pause, I'm trapping that oxygen in. So allowing that oxygen to bathe the body, to invigorate the body, to do its thing. Then you're exhaling, and when you exhale, and I'm making that sound, yeah, it's doing all that healing sound current, helping to tune and tone, helping to maybe clear out the old lies, speaking the truth, but it's also a prolonged exhale. You're breathing less times per minute, and it's prolonged exhale. So you're getting rid of all that CO2 on the exhale. And then there's a pause. So when they talk about your pH levels of your blood, that's balancing the amount of oxygen, CO2, and acidosis in your blood. And that acidosis shows up as inflammation in the body. So if you're not an athlete or a performer, that shows up as disease, heart disease, inflammation, arthritis, kidney stones, gout, your toes like this, all different types of disease, acne. So inflammation, and that's the uric acid for kidney stones. So again, that's the pH levels being out of balance. And then by getting rid of all that CO2, by taking in that mass amounts of oxygen, you're intuitively balancing the pH levels, the amount of oxygen, CO2, and acidosis in the blood. And that chant or that prolonged exhale gets rid of all that CO2. The CO2 is the thing that binds the body up. The CO2 is also the piece where when you exhale, you prolong that exhale, you now make room for that greater inhale, all that oxygen now to come in. You get rid of all that bad air, all that stale air that's slowing the body down, that's binding the body down. You see, and you know that's then helping to intuitively adjust your pH levels, and it's what happens with mountain climbers or people who, scuba dive or who do free diving and stuff like that. That's why they get the bends. That's why because their pH levels then get so out of control and unbalanced. So, just acknowledging the simple mechanics of breathing with the inhale, the pause, the exhale, the pause, and knowing that we're over breathers and getting rid of this bad air and trying to intuitively balance the pH levels of the blood. That would be one of the biggest tips that I would give your audience, in addition to that gentleman's product and all that, where you're keeping yourself hydrated and all that. And just know, in this video right here, I was just out here training for about an hour. I'm out in 90-degree heat here in Philadelphia, and I'm definitely dehydrated, and that's not really affecting me too much. My athletic levels and all, and I'm an old dude. I'm 57 years old doing this stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to drop that on you guys, Toure, on you, Stephanie, on you, your audience. I love your content. I love what you guys do. You guys have really taught me a lot in my walk, and I just wanted to give back and maybe teach you guys a little bit on my own. I'd be happy to give you guys any type of private lesson or any lessons online, or even come out there to LA and teach you guys or your audience. All right, now, breathe well, stay flexible, keep healing, and keep grounded into God.